Hello and welcome to this Maritime Domain session as part of buildingSMART International Summit, Berlin 2025. Thank you for joining. My name is Yushen and I will be your moderator today. Today's session is titled Maritime Domain Session 1, Charter the Course, Roadmap for Revision and Strategic Growth in Maritime. The speakers for this session are Haijiang Li, Professor at Cardiff University, Ahmed Shahudi, Global BIM Lead at Royal Haskoning. This session is scheduled to last 90 minutes, including time for questions at the end. The session is being recorded and will be made available in the replay section of the event as soon as possible. I would also like to bring your attention at buildingSMART is committed to ensure that participation in the development of standards is unrestricted and the process of their adoption is transparent, and standards they are developed do not favor any particular provider and are open, non-binding, and accessible to all. Please take note of our antitrust code of conduct. Now I would like to hand over to Haijiang.
Thank you, Yushen, for the introduction. And today I'm here with my colleagues, Ahmed, so together to introduce the Maritime Domain. And also thanks for the attendance from the online audience as well. So we have been set up about 2 years ago, this new Maritime Domain, and we have been doing something during this period of time. So this slide says that we developed some chart map and roadmap and networking with different partners from all over the world. And we did some survey and networking. And also today, we're open for discussion for all this ongoing development and with an intention to get more interested parties to get involved. Moving forward, so a little bit of history to begin with. It's about 2 years ago, 2023, March time, that was in Rome. At that time that we were talking about to set up a new domain that does not exist before. So it was decided to focus on maritime related or ocean engineering related. And then the initiating parties are from China, Communication Construction Company, including Roy Haskoning and other related potential partners. And that MOU was signed in 2023, August in Beijing, in CCCC headquarters. And then we keep on developing. In 2024, Valencia, that actually the domain structure has been agreed. And we move forward to Marrakesh, and that was a very good event, and quite a lot of people attended. Move forward to Singapore. We just finished that one. And then we introduced the charter and the roadmap released. And we also started our first 2 projects. And here we are now today in Berlin. So we are going to report what we have been achieved and what we intend to do the next, and also call for more participating for this maritime domain. Okay, so if we move forward, we did something together with Roy Haskoning. So I hand over to Ahmed.
Yeah, so looking at the domains, of course, we understand that our mission is to represent the sector and help them connect and express the needs so we can define the requirements and move forward. And we also understand that not at every place is the maturity at the same level. So looking at United Kingdom, Haskoning, or Royal Haskoning in that time officially named, we approached the sector to come together, talk about information management and BIM, talk about the potentials, touch base, see what's everybody doing, and invite people to move on and collaborate to each other. It was not, say, this activity was not a one-on-one related to the maritime domain, but this is a part of activities, and then that knowledge and that network we hope and we are trying to bring to the domain, because that's one of the that is one of the, say, high potential critical things that we are having in mind. And that's something that we come back to, that is something we thrive for, and we are asking the industry to come forward and to help us with their needs, with their expressions.
Yeah. There's something. Some technical issues, so bear with us. Okay.
Where is my
Yeah.
mouse?
This is the one.
Yeah, but where is my mouse?
You don't need to just use keyboard. Oh, on the screen?
I can catch it.
Okay.
It's good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ahmed. So have you finished this one?
Yeah.
Okay. And we also continuously contact with different industry partners. And one of those from CCCC, China Communication Construction Company. And they want to understand the current state of the art, want to understand the opinion from the counterpart industry. So they circulated digital survey across UK and EU countries. We get some feedbacks, and that is quite general in terms of openBIM, digital transformation, and the specific focus on maritime-related engineering. So we also want to understand the scope of this maritime domain is going to cover, and what would be those interested projects that could potentially shaped from our interested parties. So those surveys could be circulated alongside with Roy Haskinen, the boot camp on openBIM, so as required. Okay, so move forward. And that is what we gathered from those continuous talking with our industry partners, mostly focusing in UK and European countries. And we get quite a lot of insights that help us to shape the roadmap, the range, the scope. As you can see that we understand that like sea bridges, immersed tunnels, and those are the maritime infrastructure. Those collected the most focused feedbacks. We actually shape those into our scope. And together, we actually initiated two projects. So one is the immersed tunnel, another one is port and harbor. And there are many other potential related projects that could come from our partners or interested parties that can propose. And we can together to shape those project proposal and move that forward. So those are the concluded. It's about what we heard. So stronger engagement are required. So more chapters, members, and experts, we want them to help us to participate, to working together. And also there are some new technology-related trends can be actually managed and channeled through maritime domain, through ocean engineering. So that is what we heard so far. Jump to the next stage. Yeah. And that gives us a first stage to create the steering committee. Because the CCCC and Roy Haskinen as the first two founding organizations, so that steering committees are from these organizations. As you can see, Ahmed, Dan, they're representing Roy Haskinen, and Mr. Liu Xi, Mr. Yu Li, and also Yi Li, also Mr. Wang Yi. They are from China Communication Construction Company, but spreading into two subsidiary company. One is the Second Harbor Design Institute, located in Wuhan, in China. Another one is what is called Highway or Design Institute, that is located in Beijing. So Attendees, this is the first stage for our steering committee, but we seriously need to grow this committee. Hence, we actually ask more interested parties to come to join us together to shape the next move for the maritime domain. So it is open to anyone who are interested. They can let us know, and then that will create our impact, and then also actually to linking more industry partners to shape together the future, the next move of this openBIM standards for maritime domain, especially alongside with ongoing IFC5 initiative. So that could be potentially a chapter-based or modular-based development moving forward. So we are hoping that through maritime domain, we are able to channel those new interesting development towards IFC5. Okay, so that is our shaping the steering committee. And since then, we have launched 2 projects. So one of that is Immerse Tunnel projects, led by Roy Haskinen together with CCCC. We myself representing Cardiff University. We participating into these projects as technical contributor. And for the second one is port for waterway, stage 2. We have completed stage 1 under the infrastructure domain. Yeah, so it's been a while, quite a while. And now, because of COVID in the middle, so we stopped quite a lot activities. So recently, the port and waterway also get resumed, and then we are going to kick off for different scope, different use cases. On the port and waterway stage 1, we're actually focusing more on the design stage, but we're going to shift from design to construction and operation stage more for stage 2. So these are the 2 ongoing projects. So there will be tomorrow, there will be another technical session. We have been developing quite a lot technical details. So here Berlin, we're going to report to everyone who are interested. So please do come and comment and position to join us together. Okay, moving forward. So this is our maritime domain charter or roadmap. So Ahmed, whenever you want to step in, let me know. Okay.
Yeah, so this is based on the early documents that we had. This was released in Singapore, if I'm correct.
Example.
And it was already immediately, let's say, 1 or 2 years old. And then we were looking into this year in preparation for Berlin, also to reshape it. And our conclusion was that, yes, there are items that we do need to review and we do need to revise and update. But with the current underrepresentation of the sector, we are not having enough to say, well, we can do a new version, but then again, we cannot gauge the interest of the sector. So there is a draft. We reviewed it. We decided not to go further with that without having good workshops. And indeed, I see, Jim, you're joining us today. I was remembering the effort you made before Montreal for a year to go through and have workshops with different chapters and member organizations and the others to really collect the interest. Now we see in maritime, and now with the newer domains, the scope of the domains are getting narrower and narrower. And then if we do not really proactively talk to different chapters, to different organizations, and if they also do not stretch and extend their representation to us, then it would become something like CCCC and Hoskoning. We were involved in phase 1 with the infra room. We can do phase 2, we can do phase 10, but then eventually it would become CCCC, Hoskoning, or a few other Cardiff University standards and not maritime standards. So we do have some drafts, and the hope is that we plan more before Porto. We plan some workshops, and that we can also talk further with the other domains that are actually having overlapping interests with us. So we can have a draft and then maybe release a version for review, not publish something now. So that on the roadmap and charter. Continuing, if we go to the next slide. Yeah. So there's, of course, we can imagine that organizations would be interested to either contribute to the initiatives that are ongoing, or they want to have experts to share and also to bring in, but also to learn from what's going on. We are very interestedly looking forward to plan some workshops, hopefully from bigger chapters that are having multiple country representation, but even like it could be a conference or something like that. We can maybe have a discussion at the side of some other conferences. And even with our current initiatives, we are looking at the use cases. Tomorrow, our colleagues would be presenting about the immersed tunnels, but also about the ports and waterways too. We're looking for the use cases. And then there are also a lot of national movements. So we see maritime industry is looked at in a different way in different countries. In countries like UK, it gets possibly more attention than a country that maritime is not big part of the focus. So please, if you wish to contact with us, find myself, Richard, or Haijang, just the domain, and then we can plan and move forward. We are indeed also looking forward to hear if chapters are thinking about any workshops or, I don't know, assembly of the members.
Yes, thank you, Eamon. I think next slide is about the open discussion, and some contents here, it is actually linking to the discussion. So the way that we want other people to engage, that could include these sessions, like joint pilot projects. So and also nominee experts. That means that anyone can be participating in these projects at different level. So you can join as experts, or you can join into the project level and actually to shape the standards development together. And we'll also propose to host a workshop, serious workshop, regional, virtual, and topic related. Like Roy Haskinen did one like boot camp in UK. So we would like to scale this up, to talk to more people, to help this type of workshop from different countries, if possible. And also share use cases. These are the main base for our development. Everything's based on the use cases. Yeah. And also support national or industry initiative. Right after this slides is about open discussion. So those are the key questions for input and collaborations. I think here today in this room. So if we may, that perhaps we can start to very close discussions. If it is possible, maybe everyone here can start to say a bit about yourself, if that's in favor of that. Okay, of course, it's not compulsory, of course, yes, but that will facilitate our discussion based on this topic. So the topic that we want to ask for is about the key questions for input and calibrations. So who should be involved in shaping the roadmap and charter? Because we say those existing charter and roadmap is already a bit outdated. We want that to be updated to reflect new partners that all over the world. So charters, regions, sectors, and key organizations, have we missed anyone? Yeah. And second one is, how should we embed ISO 19650 into the maritime domain specific? Yeah. And what domains and technologies should be in or out? That is out of scope. or any other question that come from the audience that you think is reasonable to discuss here today. So that'd be great. Yeah. Yeah, Jim, please. You started, Jim. Yeah.
Use the mic for our audience.
Okay, thank you for encouraging me to come. And I haven't looked at my program, but I presume the session tomorrow is the same time?
Yeah,
Same place,
time.
so
Yeah.
I'll try and come back tomorrow. I'm from the infrastructure room, and at one point, Ports and Waterways was under our umbrella, and I think it's now very clear that it really belongs here. Those Ports and Waterways too. I presume that's been kind of resolved, but it's certainly appropriate that you guys keep it. So I have a few questions about that, but I think about Ports and Waterways too, but I presume that's probably more appropriate tomorrow in tomorrow's session.
Yeah.
I'm also here as a representative of Australia or Australasia, and we are an island and we're surrounded by water. So you'd think that ports and waterways would be a very major topic for us.
Okay.
But personally, I have no connections in that sector. So I've listened to what you say, and I'm encouraged. I will try my hardest to find the right people in Australia, which is going to be a bit of a challenge. But I'll try and make some contacts for you and start to get that involved, and maybe we can, whether it's appropriate in Australia to do something similar. Let's see. But I'll try and make some links for you, and I probably should have already done that, but I've been lazy. So I'll correct myself. What's the other thing I was going to say? And as far as the development of the roadmap is concerned, I've obviously got, I did that for the infrastructure room, as you rightly pointed out, and I think that was quite a successful exercise. If I can personally contribute to help you do a similar kind of exercise over the next 12 months, then even though I have no domain expertise, I'm happy to facilitate anything that, or help. Facilitate sounds like it's taking control. I didn't mean that. I'm happy to participate and help in any way that I can. So
yeah,
I think that's all I need to say at the moment. But I think you're doing a great job. Well, the other thing I was going to say was, I'm presuming that Ports and Waterways 2 is going to become focused on key, I think use case is the right word, because you had a whole, there was a dozen, seemingly a dozen there, dealing with all sorts of aspects of marine and coastal management. And I presume that your next task will be to identify which of those particular use cases you're going to focus on in Ports and Waterways too. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I think that sounds very good. And again, I have no technical expertise, or domain expertise, but if I can help in any way, let me know.
Great.
And I will join you tomorrow morning.
Fantastic.
Great.
Thank you, Jim.
Thanks for the offer. And indeed, it is, of course, important that people who are feedbacking or attending the workshops are connected to the background. But it's not about that only. It's about talking, and that's also what we learned from having the bootcamp in UK. You can see that in some projects they are super mature. They're already talking openBIM. They're already talking ISO 19650. And then some others are still relying on printed archives, in the shelves, and really go look in that room. So same happens everywhere. And possibly, and that is something I think we can discuss also, in an ideation session or something like that. How can we start this discussion? What we did in the UK BIM bootcamp, it was really like 2 days, and then we were having presentations from different parties like clients, operators, engineers, constructors, etc. We also had some people also from buildingSMART and the other domains to talk about their story, like for maritime, so, or in any sector. I mean, if we talk standardization, always the comments are the same. We are doing something very special. And then at the end, you see that it's 80% just the same.
Yeah.
They also always say that there are.
Yeah, just about
They also always say that they have their own tried and true methods and approaches, and we're not interested in this because it's not going to help us. So we've got to overcome that barrier. But you know all that.
Yeah, thank you, Jim, for the comment. I think that you have been here in infrastructure domain while we're doing port and waterway stage 1. Yeah, that we very lucky have your strong support to steering us, to move forward. So for this maritime domain, that would be great, if you participate from different levels as experts, as steering committee member, if you'd like. So we are actually enhancing the steering committee. So if you can be part of that, that would be great. And maybe you're not directly linking to maritime domain, but you have been working in infrastructure domain, and in terms of governance, management domain, that would be invaluable experience for us. So that would be great if you can join us together. And with regard to this similar workshop that potentially could happen in Australia, that would be fantastic, if we can have some workshops similar to boot camps that Roy Haskins did several years ago. And that perhaps during that area, because you mentioned that Australia is a big island, huge island, yeah. So there may be quite a lot ports and waterways, and also immersed tunnel potentially. Or maybe we're not limited to these 2 ongoing projects, because this maritime domain, there are many other ideas now currently is under investigating. For example, those wind turbine, offshore infrastructures, sea farming, island, man-made islands, and even the airport based on island. Yeah, there are several actually successful examples ongoing there that give us a fantastic opportunity to link across different domains. So if these ideas could be potentially investigated under this maritime domain with your help, Jim, so it'll be fantastic. Yeah.
Thank you for the invitation. As far as the steering committee is concerned, this particular summit works nicely because they're running you first and us second, in a different time slot. So I could come, but I'm not sure. I'll think about the steering committee invitation, but my help isn't dependent on that. So
yeah, fantastic.
Okay.
So maybe gentlemen want to say something? Yeah. Introduce yourself. Yeah. We have. Yeah. Sorry for the.
Sorry, I can't help you. I'm from Germany. My name is Matthias Pfeiffer. I'm an architect and involved in all these BIM processes in architecture in Germany with the Federal Chamber of Architects and something like this. And I just come here because I love the sea. So, but I cannot give you any assistance in what you are doing. Sorry for that. I'm just listening.
Yeah. Thank you. Because this is not just about maritime. It's also about openBIM. Yeah.
Yes, sure.
So, we actually try to apply the openBIM approach. That is, using IFCs and using IDS, and that applicable to architect as well. There. So,
Sure.
yeah, because now for the entire openBIM community, is about using this process, and that linking all these openBIM elements to apply to different domains. And we are actually applying to the maritime projects. So we need maritime domain experts. We also need openBIM experts. We also need other experts from other domains to exchange some
understand,
ideas,
understand.
exchange some practice. Yeah.
I understand. Okay.
Mm.
Yes, interesting, but I can think it over, but I still think I'm not. It's also a question, to be honest. We have quite a lot to do with our architectural stuff and things like that. And so probably people will concentrate on this sector and will not be ready to spend their time simply to something which is quite away from what they're usually doing and what are their needs and something like that.
Yeah.
But I choose this only half a day to go to someone which I do not know, and that's why I come here. Because this is an international thing here, and that's the opportunity. I do all the national stuff on different platforms. So
Fantastic. Yeah. Another note, perhaps, for architect, I know you guys are very care about this low carbons, so within this maritime domain, actually, we're currently investigating some low carbon perspective for the maritime infrastructure projects.
I didn't understand one word. Low carbon,
Yeah, carbon emission, low carbon, sustainable.
low carbon.
Yeah,
Yes.
low
Okay,
carbon.
No,
yeah.
I understand.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, because that is definitely one of the major concerns from architect point of view, and also applicable for infrastructure sector. Yeah, so we talk a lot about the carbon emission from the manufacture for the products and construction process and also operation stage. We're actually investigating some use cases and doing some research relevant to that, how to calculate for those embodied energy that by using different type of materials for the construction. So I think that might be trigger some common interests between architects and maritime domain.
Okay, you're right.
Yeah.
This is indeed one of the major aspects for BIM, actually in Germany or in Europe, calculating this. And because we will face in quite soon some regulations which will force us to do these calculations.
Yeah.
And so we are thinking about the factor which kind of accuracy do we need in which phase of the project. Means we start, of course, with low accuracy and enhance accuracy in the process. So, but to which level and by which means do we do it in phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4?
Yeah.
Majorly. So those are the phases in Germany.
Great.
And then comes to 5, it goes up to 9. And that's what we're thinking about. That's a point what we do. Major aspect is the use of concrete, of course.
Yeah.
Because this is in building, in the construction industry, the absolutely major factor. I think in what you are doing is even much more, because it's more or less pure concrete and with a little steel or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, reinforcement, and that's large amounts of concrete that need to be used to create this infrastructure for the maritime. So you can imagine in terms of low carbon and that how to achieve that target.
One thing what we are thinking in Germany, or many people are, is not to avoid. We cannot avoid concrete completely, and there are no real means to reduce the carbon impact of the concrete. But what we can do is reduce the amount of concrete. We have simply to make it thinner. That's it.
Yeah.
And by that, reduce simply the amount. And of course, there are technical opportunities which are given to us now, because we can shape concrete more easily in a complex way than we could do it decades ago. Then everything had to be simple, thick, and simple. And now we try to get into a direction which means concrete can be thinner, but in a complex shape to fulfill the needs it has to do, and by this way, reducing the carbon impact.
Yeah, and obviously you can choose different type of concrete. For maritime ocean engineering, they might require different specific type of concrete. Yeah, that might be even more demanding in terms of achieving low carbon target. Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, just for the open discussion. Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you.
we see that there are no comments that we are seeing on the platform from the online attendees. But indeed, good point. Also a finding of when we are talking with the other partners in the industry that we do need to look at the bigger picture. And sometimes starting already on a data structure or a use case is confusing. So we do need to think about the process. And we do need to be able to fit these in at least a way that, different parties can contractually work with each other. And that's why we are indeed looking to have somehow application of ISO 19650 within our discussions, upcoming discussions. And also, well, we will discuss it from now on the second part a bit on the sort of examples of how to bring this into life. Indeed, how to use this use case management in a real project, and not only to do the gap analysis per se for a project of standard extension or improvement. With that, I think, do we have any other comments, questions from the room? Yeah, please,
Yeah.
of course.
Maybe that corner, maybe we can have more comments from.
While that discussion was going on, I just had a thought. One of the hot issues in Australia in the press over many years has been the Great Barrier Reef. And it's, coal whitening and whatever, bleaching, which is not my expertise, but is something as specific as that relevant to, if I were to reach out to that community, would that be of interest? Is it something which other...
So in a way, Jim,
Yeah.
I think everything that is in need of the community is relevant.
Yeah.
It might not be of a direct, say, technical scope of the current member organizations that are forming the steering committee, for example. And I cannot confirm or reject it at all. So that's not an indication of that. We are not talking also business development here. But what we are saying is that Maritime Domain, like every other domain, is trying to collect and prioritize the needs of the business. And something we know all is that sustainability and environmental matters are of our all agreed priorities. And then it can perfectly be that there is a new member of the society, of the sector, they are having a concern, they're having a use case, and it is a priority. It maybe is not something we are gonna contribute to as a technical initiative, but of course, and that indeed is important that they come forward and maybe talk. And again, we are not there to be a jury or a referee to the technicality of the thing, but to help converge the global concerns. So indeed, yeah.
I guess I was just testing to see whether the same issue has risen anywhere else within your current circle.
It has not been that I've seen it on the use cases so
Not
far.
yet.
No.
I think it would be good option, good add-on to have that. We can always start with the use case definition, and then to develop it, to link that with some applications. I know from my perspective, I think we have some research projects potentially could be linked to that as testing use cases. And from Roy Hesking and CCCC, they might have some project related to that already. So we can use it as test bed. So we do encourage that new proposal.
I maybe still have to, I think I can talk like this. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I just found something.
For the online attendees particularly, because people in the room can hear you, but people
Yes,
online.
it's okay. It's okay. Have you any contact to Inros Lackner, which is a quite big German engineering firm specialized, or one of their big branches is maritime things. And I just found out they are a member of buildingSMART Germany and active
fantastic.
at buildingSMART Germany.
Yeah.
So they might be someone. I have no. I worked with them 20 years ago, and that were good guys. And I found, but it's long ago, so I do not have a personal contact with them. But via buildingSMART, you might get in touch with them, and maybe that could be helpful in North Lagna.
Yeah, that'd be great. Please, maybe you can send the message to our colleagues here. They can make a record for that.
Okay, I try to do that.
Yeah,
yes,
fantastic. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm Hiroshima, working with Oil Corporation. I remember 2.5 years ago, you explained us very broad range, very ambitious scopes.
Yeah.
But now you are focusing to the only immersed tunnel and port and waterway phase 2.
Yes.
Am I right?
Yeah.
Okay. So,
Yeah. But yes, that is our strategic roadmap and range of, and also scope that we still are trying to engage with those other areas. But to begin with, we need to do this step by step. So the initial 2 projects, actually, yes, indeed, you're right, focusing on the immersed tunnel and port waterway. But we definitely encouraging more projects that can come out of that scope, which could be, widespreading to different projects. And welcome you to propose any new ideas related to that.
okay. Another question is, what kind of outcome are you expecting I plan to do? This slide explains me something, but for example, you don't plan to develop some new addition to IFC, or you really develop some new addition to IFC or some? What is your outcome you're expecting?
Okay, so maybe I can answer. You can.
Yeah. So it really is depending on of course the need, and it always starts with a need, with a use case. Let's say we want to make a decision, say from information management perspective, we do need that information, and that needs to be represented and traceable within our project models, and that is our starting point. Then we usually look at the process, we map it, and we say, what are these exchanges? What are the requirements? And then we run a gap analysis. And sometimes the outcome is that, okay, the current standards are good, they're just not trained well, or they are not applied well, or there's a small data dictionary, or a better application of information delivery specifications that can help us. In that sense, we may end up with just documenting a use case. And that is also fine. And sometimes we see that there's a major gap in the current data scheme, while if appended, it could be helpful to a lot of other people or to the other sides of the industry. And then we might then kickstart standard extension process, which is also per processes and procedures of BSI. So what is the outcome? There's no prescribed outcome per se. Sometimes outcome is a guidance, is a white paper, is a suggestion of a thought direction, and sometimes it is a data scheme or a part of a data scheme or an appendix to a data scheme.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So if I may add a bit, yes, from the technical perspectives, so we do intend to develop this IFC schema for there. So it's either as IFC extension or other perspective. It depends on the ongoing process, because we indeed find out this big gap there. So from this maritime domain, it is new domain, hence the object, the project that's happening within this domain is relatively very new. And on the other side, IFC is core concept underneath, and based on which you can develop different type of extension. Yeah. So technically, we believe that can be served as the IFC extension, but alongside with the IFC 5, they are proposing to using this modular-based approach. So there is a potential that we can develop this extension through maritime domain channel. Yeah, instead of putting everything into the big IFC core, that's huge to keep on expanding. That's not technically viable. So instead, we can actually focus on the chapter by chapter through maritime domain perspectives. Thank you. That was a very good question. Yeah.
Last call? No? So maybe
Yeah.
we should continue.
Okay.
Aisha?
Yeah. So move forward. So now we move to the second part. So what is our plan for the future to further expand our maritime domain, further develop it? So those are our ideas for the next year, during the 1 year time that we are trying to do. So we want to engage with other domains. And we actually has been participating many across-domain activities. One of those are the BIM and GIS, that working group, across buildingSMART community. We want to encourage similar thing happen to maritime domain. Hence, we propose a new initiative. That is what we call engineering AI. So we're going to explain that with a little bit more details. And also, I think Ahmed also involved in a water group that is also across domain activities. So this is one of the ideas that for the future development for maritime domain. And also, we want actually to improve, implement some proof of concept from our past developments. As I understanding, IFC is kind of fundamental standards. Yeah, but many industry, many enterprise, they have their application standards. In between, there is a gap. So which means that you cannot sometimes easily use IFC standards directly into your enterprise application standards. So based on this type of situation that we're working with rehab scanning and CCCC, so we want to develop some real project-based use cases, which means that while we're developing these IFC extensions in the area of maritime domain, we actually want to try it in the real projects. So that is what's happening. So we are going to developing this openBIM concept, including IFC, IDS, BSDD, BCF, CDEs, alongside with ISO 19650. Yes, all those exchanging requirements, LOIN, EIR, AIM, PIM, all sorts of concepts together to actually make these use cases that we defined as practical guidelines for industry to follow it up. Then they can actually fully engage with their enterprise implementation, practical-oriented standards. So that is second thing that we want to develop. The last thing is about a white paper for engineer AI, specifically from openBIM perspectives. Yeah, so I'm going to talk a bit more on that. Yeah, so this is ideas for the next level development. And then we actually promoting this cross-domain alignments. So why connecting ports to infrastructure, energy, and beyond? Because they are sharing the same fundamentals. And in order actually to interact with those different domains, and there's a need while you're developing the standards, you embed those interoperability concept from the very beginning. Hence, the developed standards can actually be easily used to cope with those collaborative-oriented concept, which is openBIM promoting. Yeah, so maritime assets actually are deeply connected to other infrastructure domains, energy grid, transport, and urban infrastructure environmental networks. So it inherently linked together with other infrastructure sectors. So you cannot actually separate maritime domain completely from other infrastructure domain or other domains. So that is the methodology that we are proposing. It is cross-domain. Yeah, it is matters. It's not isolated information of islands. So we come to a discussion point. Is this what we planned?
Yeah, so that was sort of our learned lesson in collaboration with the other domains and in the overlaps. And we see that in our projects. We also see that in standards developments. It's not only openBIM, even like methodology. In the multidisciplinary projects, we often see that each department is having their own standards or protocols. And then when it is a joint, then it's been discussed always who's in the lead and whose protocols should be followed. That's one point indeed of interface management between the domains. But also, maritime is still relatively young of a domain. And we appreciate that we do not have that much engagement or experience with the sector. And we also found out that there was a bit of lack of documentation, let's say, for what is in our scope and what are we expected to do. And that was also between our lines within the slide deck. That maybe it is good also for domains to share this experience. And also that is a request we already talked about with buildingSMART International, that maybe it's good to start documenting standard procedures also for the domains. Because at some point, the risk was that we were getting too much into initiatives. And it was already mentioned in this call that, yeah, aren't you doing too few? Yeah, from one hand, you can see it that it is too many. Because we are, and this is really something we would like to have to become a domain, not just a couple of projects going on. So that was just an open call. Particularly in this summit, I see that we have many more parallel sessions to each other. So I can imagine that we do not have the chance to have a lot of people from different domains just coming in because of curiosity. But the idea was that what are the interfaces, or how can we get to talk more with each other from different domains? And we tried to have a UCM session with infrastructure, or we invited the aviation domain to one of our steering committee calls to look at one of their developments. But indeed, that is a request to the other domains and to BSI. And we welcome any discussion point now or later on through the summit or later after the summit to collaborate more with each other. At the end, yes, we narrow down the scope for better focus, but that should not mean more isolation. It's against all merits of what we try to achieve here.
Okay. The second point for the proof of concept, I think during the yesterday's, there are some keynote speakers. They also mentioned, in reality, it's not just IFC 4, IFC 5. So you have IFC 4.3, IFC 2, IFC 5. All of these actually, they are going to be entangled together to deal with any practical systems. So which means that there need to be a proof of concept that can show a best practice. Hopefully that's our team can deliver that to actually to show how to link those openBIM workflows, and even for the currently AI-powered tools that can be combined together. That works for all those IFC variants, and also alongside with other standards, and also with the team, with tools as fully integrated workflow. So that's why we think that proof of concept that is very necessary, that hopefully that we can deliver through the projects in our maritime domain. Yeah.
And indeed, we hear this also a lot from. I told that there are, different stages of adoption of openBIM and information management. And while we hear corporates or individuals being super excited about IFC 5 and maybe even ahead of the development status, there's a big part of the industry that they are saying, okay, we have been waiting already for 2 years for this IFC 4.3 to get discussed and go through the funnel and get published. And where is it? You know, a document, an ISO document is not enough. They need to see something. And also, it has been, you know, becoming obvious to me that sometimes IFC itself or like the data structure is not the challenge for a lot of implementers. And the thing that they like the most, or the thing that relieves them from a huge pain, is actually application or adoption of other smaller products and standards like communication on BCF or IDS. And then that is the thing that they say, okay, this was what I was looking for. And IFC, yeah, fine. They can work for that. They can use the benefits, of course. Yeah, that was the comment I wanted.
Thank
to,
you.
yeah.
Thank you, Ahmed. Let's move forward for the next point. It's AI. Oh, sorry. Yeah, please, yeah.
I'm finding this really interesting because we're facing all the same challenges. The proof of, sorry, what am I trying to say here? One of the big issues we have is how to manage domain work.
Yeah.
And we fail miserably at that because when we have 2 summits a year and we get streamed into separate domains, we just don't talk to each other. And it's a major challenge. So I think there's a problem there with our summits, and from the infrastructure room's domain point of view, we've kind of started to talk to buildingSMART about that. But of course, buildingSMART at the moment has other issues on its mind, so we just have to be careful. But I think that's something we need to think about. And I personally think we actually need to rethink the summit structure and maybe have a working summit every once a year, and have a meeting summit, or whatever you might call it, and what we do at the moment as an alternate. Because I mean, most of us in this room, I suspect, we travel a long way to go to these summits.
Yeah.
And Australia, we travel via Asia to go to these summits, so it's kind of insane. So it's a lot of traveling for, and if you sit down, anyway, you know the story. On the second point, I think it was your last slide. One of the this whole idea of testing IFC 4.3 and actually starting to see implementations about it. 2 things, I guess. I did produce I did go to the effort a few months ago now, several months ago, of producing a little PowerPoint with, 2 PowerPoint slides that had links into several IFC 4.3 initiatives that are happening at the moment. So I'll share that with you.
Great.
I mean, it's just useful because it had links into what they're actually doing. But it also links into another initiative, whatever day it was, Sunday night. I had dinner with a couple of our US colleagues, and the conversation around the table was, we're trying to get our head around how to use IFC 4.3 within our business context.
Mm-hmm.
And so I broke all the buildingSMART rules, and yesterday I organised a workshop with support from buildingSMART, but with stakeholders who just sat around for an hour and a half and talked about how the challenges they're having with IFC 4.3 and how we can move forward to sort of deal with that. So I think it's a kind of workshop. You're just saying it needs to happen, and of course didn't get invited because I was running around all morning just trying to identify people who might be invited. But it's a common problem that organizations are saying, well, what is this IFC 4.3? How do I use it? You go to the documentation on the website and it talks about, gives context, templates and things like that, but it doesn't actually help you get down below the surface. You know, I mean, none of the infrastructure groups know how to use alignment, and there's different ways of doing alignment. Even in the IFC documentation for IFC 4.3, there are 5 different ways of organizing the spatial structure for a bridge. You think, well, I mean, that just confuses the industry entirely.
Yeah.
Why can't we all agree on how a bridge should be represented? We do it for buildings. You know, it's sort of fairly straightforward. Why can't we have a similar kind of standard way? Anyway, the point is, I think there are lots of discussions that need to be had. And one of the big challenges we have is just how to do that when we're so scattered around the world.
Yeah.
And this from an Australian who's as scattered as anybody. Yeah, more scattered than most,
Okay.
both in my brain and geographically. So I just throw that out there. So it's a problem we do need to address with Building Smart.
Yeah.
And maybe this summit isn't quite the right time to do that because there are other things going on. But it's something we need to deal with as a community. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Jim. Yeah.
Here ends the speech from Jim.
Yeah, I think that's a very constructive comment, Jim, because we actually, as domain, we're also thinking about how to best organize our events. You know, in talking about Building Smart Summit restructuring, we used to have a very good, you know, after all the sessions, there's domain leaders. They come together to exchange some ideas, and then it won't disappear. Because that is definitely a good way for different domains to exchange ideas, especially after 3 days sessions. You know, all the sessions has been completed, and we come to a stage that's to the conclusion. Why not to put all the domain leaders come together? Unfortunately, I think this year I think Richard helped us, you know, to organize this. All domain leaders invited to come together to do this across domain activities afterwards. I think that would be fantastic. Of course, there will be some other areas or points that we can think that can help to improve the structuring of the summit. I completely agree with you. So we traveled so often, you know, twice a year, and expensive, you know, to come together. We just stay here for 3 days. Maybe you can take this opportunity to do some sort of workshop, yeah, after the main events. So for the group, we can interested group, we can do some sort of workshops. Of course, if people feel that it's not too tired after 3 days of main event, and that could be another point that we can think about. And for your second point that you mentioned, yes, in terms of industry practice, in terms of where this IFC 4.3, that exactly why we propose that, you know, we need some sort of proof of concept. If we can somehow manage some sort of best practice from this new maritime domain, and hoping that will actually show some good guidance or ways for the followers to come in, to step in, to actually apply openBIM into their core business. Yes, indeed, it is. Perhaps this is a good way and good place, and because maritime domain is new domain, relatively we start from the white papers. You know, we can plan as we reach, and then to come up with a better suitable examples at best practice or standard we can promote to the community. Yeah, to that end, thank you, Jim, again. Yeah, okay.
Just as well, you two guys don't have any day jobs. I think you probably do.
We need that's the reason we need everyone, you know, to come together to help.
No, but also like maybe less from maritime, but my sort of personal take from the water utilities group. It takes years, exactly because of the same reason. And that's also why we're sharing this, and we also wish this to be supported from the other domains. We wish for a bit of a documentation, because not everything can be converged from, you know, bottom-up approach. We are 10 different domains, and even if we have 10 concluded opinions, about how this should work. Mathematically, by AHP, it would be almost impossible to converge to one answer. So yeah, to be thought about, to be approached and tried. But hopefully we can do more in same, and not just from 10 different domain perspective, tell the whole AEC sector to do things the same, and then we don't do it the same way with each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we continue.
Yes, please.
The last part for that is the new initiative working relevant to AI from openBIM perspectives. So we noticed recently there are quite a lot of developments ongoing in buildingSMART community. And actually, yesterday keynote, there's quite a lot of AI that has been discussed, triggered, very intriguing. Yeah, so we actually, as a new domain, from Cardiff University, we have been working in this engineering AI domain for quite a long time. And recently we completed AI bridge project that leverage quite a lot AI techniques. So together with Emmett, we're thinking now probably is the right time actually to initiate some sort of a new working group that's linking engineer AI, but from perspective of openBIM perspectives. So that is why we're trying to do that. So before we jump to this final initiative, call for the initiative, there are some sort of background slide that I want to introduce here first. A brief history about artificial intelligence. This is quite technical. Hopefully that can trigger some of your thinking. So AI's so far has been through the three waves. Yeah, wave 1, wave 2, wave 3. So every time come and go to the peak and then down. So the time range around like 30 to 40 years. So as you can see at the very beginning, 90s, 40s, 1950s, and then we move to the first wave that is about logical reasoning. I move forward about expert system. We talk a lot about expert system, but no longer talking now. And then we have received the third wave, which is currently we are in. That is marked by 2016, AlphaGo. That is the most recent engineering AI that is focusing on machine learning, deep learning. Yeah. And then when times comes to 2022, that is when ChatGPT come on board. So immediately that's sort of a triggering point, tipping point that for the entire society, human society. So overnight, everyone is talking about this AI, how it's going to change completely about human life. So we're also talking about artificial intelligence from narrow perspectives, the artificial narrow intelligence. So those AI can only do one thing. And then gradually people talking about artificial general intelligence. That means that you can do many things. Or also in the future, talking about artificial super intelligence. All these sort of fancy ideas. What exactly this means to our engineering domain, our construction domain, or built environment domain, that deserves a deep thinking to that. So as a research community, so we also, myself also leading a European group of intelligent computing engineering. So I'm chairing this year. And we actually conducted 5 to 6 forums or conferences already. So those are the key questions that we're trying to ask ourselves as engineer. So in order to understand how and why AI can help to solve engineering issues. So we talked a lot about numerical simulations. I know from the audience and also online, there must be many people working on the numerical simulations. But now they have data-driven come up. So people might say, oh, we use data-driven, no need for simulation anymore. Is this fundamental change that we're going to follow? Okay, the next question, we're talking about knowledge. Everyone talking about knowledge, lots of data. How are we able to knowledge mining knowledge of the data and put that into design, put that into the operations? That is quite critical to deal with this huge amount of data and huge amount of knowledge. So real time. Yesterday, Siemens is talking about real time. I think this is very new. We talk about real time data collection. It's not new, but real time decision making. I think another keynote speaker, I talked to him after his speech. He talked about real time decision making out of the thousands of different decision alternatives. So think about that, how AI is going to help. COVID-19 coming out, nano smart city solution worked all over the world. Why can AI help this time? Generative AI, that is most profound, the current AI. This is focusing on generative AI. What does this generative AI means? Large language model, it is model dealing with language. So we believe that deal with language logic to a mature way. But engineering logic, can it solve the engineering problem by using large language models? There are many practices now trying to use the large language models to solve engineering problem without good success. Yeah, so let's see what's happening behind all those. Those are the questions, AI black box, also data quality, so we need to think about seriously as community. On the right, as you can see, those are the algorithms. We called neural network zoo. You can think about this. So many neural networks out there. Which one we should take? And then in order to do that, we actually come up with a series of workshops, starting from this year, July in Glasgow, European Group of Intelligent Computing Engineering. There's a workshop talking about these engineering AI key questions. We have several key universities in China. We did that forum again to talk about engineering AI. They are international audience and international participants. Also, Hong Kong University of Science Technologies, and we are now planning another closure AI forum for engineering in UK. So all of this actually give us a very good idea. How are we going to shape all of these discussions, key talks, into a white paper? That first from engineering AI from EGICE perspectives. But here in this audience, we're talking about openBIM buildingSMART perspective. So we are going to produce a white paper next year in Porto Summit. So that is one of the key things that I think that can trigger some critical thinking, so engineering logic and the language logic. So think about, these are the language logic that we think, engineering logic that we think you have to consider in order to solve engineering problem successfully. So engineering problem, you have the data constraints, you have knowledge, you have standards, you have to deal with the life cycle, responsibility. Engineers have responsibility. Those are the key elements you need to consider, which is different to this generative AI. Think about that. If you put those data from everywhere into your AI without considering engineering logic, how can you expect that you can solve engineering problem properly? Architect problem? No. Yeah, very. Yes, of course. So here we are. So we are going to present some white paper, engineering AI initiative working group. So all of you here and also people online, if you're interested, please contact us, and we're going to establish a working group, and we're going to publish white paper in the portal next year, and hopefully that can trigger and also can combine the different source of strengths together, to actually to define this problem together. So at the moment, already have 3 or 4 active groups, teams within the buildingSMART community. So we're proposing to set up this working group, publish a white paper, and eventually that is what we're planning for the portal 2026. So perhaps
just to we thought, how can we improve delivery and sort of tie our hands. So why not define some delivery goals for Porto? And indeed, there are items like the white paper that we are looking at. We would like to start with at least having the first rounds of the workshop, so to have a draft of the charter and roadmap, not one that is discussed and written by CCCC and Haskoning, but with more input. And then hopefully we can proceed with that. So soon we would have a more democratic, inclusive roadmap and charter. To talk with the other domains, there are a lot of topics. AI is all over the place. Indeed, that's the new digital twin, seemingly. We do have the GIS, which is maybe more close to home, close to operation discussion. And a lot of domains are looking into that. We would like to show some pilots as well. What's going on? What's working? If we are having IFC 4.3 for now more than a year officially, then it should have been living its life. So where is it? And that is it. Looking forward to meet you in Porto and in between. From other domains perspective, let's get in touch. Let's try to polish and align on our procedures. From different chapters, members organizations, and other associated partners to the sector maritime, we wish to learn from you. And that is it. Thank you all for the time. We open for discussion.
Yeah, we have bit time, about 7 minutes.
Some
Yeah.
minutes, yeah.
It's open discussion for anything that you're interested.
Do we have any online?
We do have some online audience, but no online questions.
Okay.
Okay.
Good. So with that, any comments? No.
Yes,
Go ahead.
definitely yes.
Like you, Haj-Young, I've been working in the AI. Well, I mean, I've been thinking about AI for many years.
Yeah.
And I found your diagram really interesting because I haven't maintained that interest. I just have a request. Can you send me a couple of the papers that came out of that work you've done?
Yes.
I'm just curious to try and catch up my knowledge a little bit.
Okay, yeah.
Like our colleagues here, I'm a bit cynical about AI's potential to contribute.
Yeah.
But that's probably based on, research done 20 years ago rather than understanding where it's really going to at the moment. So
Yeah.
I'd really appreciate it's a selfish decision because I should do the research myself. I mean, find the
great.
papers myself. But if you can send me a couple of papers, that'd be really helpful.
Yeah.
No, well,
great.
if we are traveling yourself in your case for thousands of kilometers, then at least you should expect something in return. But I think that what is important, and I also have this a lot of times when I'm talking about AI with different people of the sector, is that often it is about a technology shop or advertisement, and often it is forgotten what Haijang was showing, that AI, like BIM, like information management, they are not the same thing, but they both start from a point that somebody needs something. And that something that is needed is the point to start with, a use case. And yeah, you may use this technique or this graph or that methodology, but it always starts with a question. And sometimes we forget that it's about the question. So that slide that Haijang was showing about the questions, like typology and grounds that we can look at and maybe proceed. That's something. And often in different conferences or gatherings or even meetings in different companies, we hear AI. And yeah, what AI? AI in where? But indeed, yeah.
Yeah, indeed, where AI come and go. This is a newest wave. Some technology, it might be different. It might be actually trigger some sort of new thinking, because this time it does show some different thing about this large language model. This never happened before. And large language model does have some successful application example. But how is that going to be used properly for engineering, for construction? That's a serious question need to be answered before moving forward. Yeah.
Well, there are two questions, aren't there? The one is it going to go the same way as expert systems and logic systems before that, go back down again? Or is it actually going to deliver the goods?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe the question is that would the question remain that sharp still or not? Yeah. No, what I need to think about and yeah, but the idea is that it's always good to start writing down, and then maybe we're not right, like the spatial coordination you were talking about. It's fine if we have 5 different approaches for, let's say, one scope or one limited scope, but as long as they're written down, then at least we can meet them tomorrow and then either prioritize or eliminate or, I don't know, converge or do something with.
Yeah, the keynote speech, I think I deliberately asked that question. Why IFC, some example can be successful without IFC. We heard loads of positive comments come from the panel members. That's exactly what we need to answer here. So why we want to publish engineering AI white paper from buildingSMART perspective, which means that why AI needs to help or standards need to help with AI. How these two things need to be linked together. Using AI for standards from what perspective? Or using standard for AI from what perspective? So that is 2 minutes to go. Last question or last comment, last discussion from, oh yes. Thank you, Yushin.
Thank you very much for the discussion. My name is Panjo Chun from the University of Tokyo in Japan. And my major is one of my major is physics AI. And
Oh.
can I see the there is yeah.
This one.
Yeah, and as you said, I think what you said is totally correct. These days AI doesn't have kind of engineering blah 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 blah, but not like before. I think that these days the large language model, including ChatGPT or something,
Yeah.
have kind of engineering common sense,
Okay.
engineering knowledge.
Okay.
Of course, it is not perfect, but something kind of they have some knowledge. So, first of all, I think we need to figure out how much how much it can do, how much AI can do, and next, we kind of need to think that one of the key function of AI is kind of to operate or to control the data based on some rules. So, with in this viewpoint, I think because this group has very strong standard, it may help AI to kind of consider or to reach to the appropriate goal. So I think this group has very strong standards, of course IFC standards or else. So this group can use AI appropriately than other groups, I think.
Wow.
Just my comments.
That's great question, I think. Yeah. So first, indeed, large language model, they do have some engineering logic there, but obviously it's not enough. It's very fundamental, very basic. But in order to deal with complex engineering problem, that sort of knowledge is not enough. So the question is, how can we improve this large language model with enough those engineering logic that can be done? So who is going to do that? Computer scientists or engineers is going to lead the way? And also, I like your second point that this community is best positioned actually to propose, it's based on the strong standard perspective, to actually do this engineer AI in a better way than other groups. Yes, I think I completely agree with that. Amen.
In my opinion, and the domain-specific AI needs to be developed by the people in the domain.
Oh, completely agree with you. That's the reason why engineering AI need to be led by engineering, need to be led by engineers. That is the future engineers. We're not going to lose our job. We are going to create the models. Yeah. Ahmed, maybe you can.
Other closing remarks? No? Okay, then we will conclude 4 minutes in advance to the coffee break, so 4 minutes without the queue, yes. And hopefully see you in the other sessions. Thank you all for the time and online attendees. Thanks.